Hey, it's Ari. It's been a while. It's been like a long time. I have gone off testosterone. Basically the last video I made was the last shot that I had right before that, and yeah. So I guess this video is going to be talking about what that was like and why I decided to go off and how I feel about it now. Um, I decided to go off mainly because I had this intuitive feeling that when I had my last shot, I just knew in some deep and very certain way that that was my last injection, and that if I had any more, I'd be postponing the inevitable. And I think it was just a tipping point of doubt, really. And it's not to say that I have any regrets about taking tea. I'm very happy that I did take it. Um, but I just started to doubt, like, yeah, how much longer I wanted to do it for, considering that I am genderqueer and I was moving into a space of starting to feel like I was feeling like the opposite dysphoria to how I felt in the past. Which, I could logically say that, of course, that was going to happen and I shouldn't have taken testosterone because what is it really doing for me if it's only going to make me feel dysphoric in a different way? But it has done a lot for me, and I'm glad that I took it. Um, when I went off, I have read a bit about how awful it can be emotionally, and I was quite like terrified of that. So I did everything I could to like help myself. I went to an acupuncturist and Chinese medicine worker and naturopath about um, to get help with like balancing my hormones and my getting my mood and energy levels okay. And that was like pretty expensive because I was going every week, but it really, really, really helped. And I also bought a juicer and started drinking like vegetable juice every day, and I started jogging a bit, just like gently, because I just think cardio is really good for mood regulation. And even on those days that I couldn't jog, but on days that I was tired and it was really a struggle, I just like pushed through as much as I could. Um, at about 2 weeks off, I started, yeah, having trouble like staying out of bed. Like I'd get up and I just like could barely stand up. Like I was so tired and would like lean over the kitchen bench with my coffee and then just go back to bed. But I think it was okay because I just really made that space available in my life. I can't imagine if I was working full time or something like that that I would have really coped. I think I really recommend if you're going to go off testosterone, treat it like you're going to have withdrawals and you need to allow space for that and do everything you can to like mitigate the negative side effects of that. The other side of it is that I started to feel like psychologically and emotionally how I remember feeling before being on T. Started feeling a much more complex array of emotions. I feel like this is like a contentious thing to say, but that's just my experience. Um, I I remember like lying in bed and getting that almost like divine sensation of feeling sad and feeling the sadness and the beauty of the whole world in the same moment. Whereas when I was on T, that happened a lot less often, and like things like that, where you've got these like nuanced feelings and almost like feel the galaxy inside yourself. I just didn't have those experiences on testosterone, and when I started having them again, I was really happy about that. And I also feel like emotionally, the things that I've gone through in the last 6 months or 8 months or so since the last video, I'm not sure how it would have felt on T, and I'm glad that I'm not on T dealing with those things. Just, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's been like the easiest 6 months ever, but it definitely hasn't been like as bad as it could have been. And I really think that, like, yeah, if people like do what they can for their body and their mind and their heart during their transition period, which is like quite a long period, but the worst of it is really just the first couple months. Um, it doesn't have to be so bad. Um, it could be also that I have a lot of support, and I also fell in love um, with someone in a big way when I started coming off, and I think that those endorphins um, really helped as well. So I recommend falling in love. Um, physical stuff that's happened. Um, my leg hair is not as thick as it was. It's still more than it was before T, but it's much thinner. Um, my facial hair has slowed down growth, so if I shave now, it takes a lot longer to get stubble back. And I've become so attached to my facial hair because of my face shape changing back to what it was pre-T. I think maybe it's like slightly wider. I'm not sure. Maybe it's still changing, but yeah, I really like my facial hair a lot, and it's like really important to my mental health that I have it. I feel like possibly my hair's gotten slightly thicker. Like I think the back thinning is like reversed just the tiniest amount. Um, my fat and muscle distribution is changing back. I can do one chin up instead of like 16 or something that I could do before. Maybe not 16, maybe 10, I don't know. And my pants are starting to feel tighter around my hips. Um, this is something that I really hate, and when I don't have facial hair, I definitely get read as a woman now. Um, I do think I want to talk about the fact that when I was on T, after a few years, I like really felt comfortable and I didn't experience very much dysphoria, and I felt socially comfortable and socially privileged and really great. And I was kind of delusional, I think, in thinking that I could carry some of that comfort through back into estrogen land. Um, that hasn't been the case, really. I think that what's happened is I have dysphoria again. Um, I struggle with that a bit. Mostly, I struggle with social dysphoria, I think, because I'm not really sitting around in my room and freaking out about my body. It's more how society reads my body, or how I feel like society is reading my body, because I'm really happy about my boobs growing back. I think they're beautiful and I have no problem with them. I think I would like to have a chest, like a flat chest more. So in the future, I may decide to get chest surgery, but right now they're fine and quite nice. And but when I'm in public wearing clothes, I feel terrible about them, and I feel really uncomfortable if I think someone can see that I have boobs. So I end up wearing shirts all the time, which I think is a really boring expression of myself. Like, it's just not the fashion that I would choose to have. I think I would wear like tight bonds t-shirts or something if I had a flat chest. Um, but mostly, yeah, my dysphoria feels social. I guess I'm more allergic to being read as a woman than I am to being read as a guy. Like, being read as a guy just feels like it's a bit of a lie, and it makes me feel a bit invisible, and it doesn't make me happy at all. But being read as a woman really upsets me. um, And that's been like a hard thing to deal with. Again, on the whole, like, I've had some like really dark periods of time where I'm really struggling, and particularly struggling with being like a bearded, boobed person. Yeah, with like social dysphoria, but on the whole, I'm in a much better place than I was before I went on T. I feel so much more self-love and confidence and like comfort, and it could just be time. But I think that I wouldn't be in such a different place if I didn't take testosterone. The the journey, that journey, like having to go through a second puberty and having to deal with my own fears about making other people uncomfortable or challenging them, um, having to be like, in some instances, assertive about my pronouns, which people usually haven't even heard of. Like, these are all things that I think I would have liked. I think I'd be a very different person if I didn't have to go through those things, and I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful for the experience, even though it's been like really hard at times. I also think it's like propelled me to grow in these ways that I like would otherwise probably not have, or would have taken me longer to find the strength that I have now, which I hope to continue finding. I guess that's enough for one video. I can talk about lots of other things, but probably that's just got to do with the coming of T, and anyone that's doing that, I really recommend get support and plan for it. Plan for feeling shit and tired, and do the best you can to like protect yourself.